What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about training to failure and progressive overload, which is what Ash Rashid had commented on the video Good Workout. Now, I thought it was a good topic to talk about since it's a big general gray area of what failure or training to failure actually is. Now, the more advanced you get, the closer you can train to failure. Now, let's back up for a second. There are many different people that have many different rep ranges that they train in, and they all seem to get results from these rep ranges. And nobody ever stopped to think of why they get results from all these rep ranges. Because some people will pick 6 to 8 and they'll go as close as they possibly can to failure at 6 to 8. Some people use 10 to 12 and they go as close as they can to 10 to 12, and some people 15, and so on and so on. The point is, no matter what rep range you're using, you're probably going closer to failure on that rep range, and that's what's really making the difference, and not the reps themselves. You hear a lot of people say, well, you get lean from higher reps, you get strong from lower reps, which the strength from lower reps I agree with. I do agree that the tendons strengthen a lot more with the 3 to 5 rep range. As far as getting leaner doing the high reps, I don't believe that. I've done sets of 50, I've done sets of 100 reps nonstop before, and it didn't make me any leaner. It made me sore as hell the next day, and sometimes it actually hurt the tendons too. And it made the muscle very difficult to flush out the lactic acid for a few days afterwards, but it didn't make me any leaner. So as far as training to failure, absolutely. I think it's the most important thing, that if you're looking for muscle growth, not so much strength, but muscle growth, to hit that, that failure. Now, when you're a beginner, you're not going to be able to hit failure. Doesn't matter what you do. You mentally don't have that mind-muscle connection to be able to get the muscle to go beyond that pain barrier. The stabilizing muscles are also not strong, so you can't get that muscle focused to be able to push hard enough to get that muscle to actually go to positive muscular failure. Then once you get to positive failure, there's also negative failure, to where you can't push the bar yourself, but you can let it come down. So someone will help you up with it, and you'll resist it on the way down. Dorian Yates was well known to use some of these techniques. And then there's also static failure, to where you can't push the weight up, you can't bring it down, but you can hold the weight. And then you get to a point where you can't even hold the weight. Now, do I think going to those types of failure are necessary? No. Those are, it's been 25 years and I still haven't figured out how to get to static failure, nor do I think I would want to. And I'm not really sure what it would apply for, to be honest with you. Maybe it is a whole nother level of training that I haven't gotten to yet, but, maybe not. Who knows? But I think it's important to try to get to at least a positive muscular failure. And if you can get the positive failure on, like your third set, then there's really no reason to get a fourth set, because you're going to wind up going past that and breaking the muscle down too far. And I've seen it over and over again where, some very rare genetic individuals can recover from pushing that far, but most people, their genetics are not going to allow them to recover from a positive and negative failure set. Now, also, volume comes into play. So if you have a high volume trainer like Jay Cutler, he's not going to train to positive failure in every set because he does 30 sets. But if you have someone like, take it from me for instance, I'll do 3 sets for chest, and I'm out of the gym. 3 sets. Not 3 sets per exercise, not 3 exercises. 3 sets. I'll hit failure on the first one, hit failure on the second one, hit failure on the third one. After warming up, let's say on the flat bench, then I'm out. I'm done. And that keeps me progressing, getting stronger. Now, is that how I got to this point? No, because when I was starting out, I couldn't apply the mental intensity enough to get the muscle to go that far to failure. But once you get that mind-muscle connection, the experience, you can take the muscle to failure faster. And from the average onlooker, they'll look at you and it doesn't appear like you're doing all that much. I mean, you're training hard, but they don't understand how the muscle's being taxed. It's like if you take somebody who's been training 20 years and you hand them a 20-pound dumbbell and you say, make it hard, that person can mentally make that weight harder than it actually would be for someone who just picked it up off the ground, who'd never trained before. And they can apply a mental intensity, which is very hard to explain if you've never done it or never been able to make that happen. It's hard to explain. So the whole training to failure thing, yes, I think it's important, but there are different levels of failure as you get more advanced towards how far you can push to get to failure. Okay, the progressive overload, which Ash also asked about. Now, this is a common technique used by DC, dog crap training, and what they do is they have the beat the logbook. So what they do is, let's say it's bench press, for instance. Every week they try to go in and get 2 pounds more on their bench, or 5 pounds, or whatever, 1 pound, or 1 more rep. Progressively increase the weight or the reps every single week when they go in the gym, or every single workout when they go in the gym, so that their whole thing is a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle. So the muscle needs to be stronger in order to get bigger. which I do agree with. I do not think you'll be able to sit there and bench just the bar all day long for the rest of your life and you're going to get huge pecs like Arnold. That's just not going to happen. So there has to be some kind of progressive overload happening for the muscle to get bigger. Now, how do you apply these two together? They have to mesh together, or else you're out there not getting the results that you could be and wasting time that you could be growing. That's individual for every person. Every person is different, and there's no one way to apply those things. What I personally would do is, if I was starting out and I was a beginner, I would start with the progressive overload first. I wouldn't start with the training to failure. You slowly try to add weights over time, and once you get to that point where you've been in the gym a while, and it varies from person to person, a year, 2 years, 6 months, who knows, until you can apply that mental intensity, then you can start going to failure. But then the progressive overload stops because you may hit failure with the same weight on different days depending on how the muscle is taxed, how much you can put into it. So at that point, the progressive overload kind of gets swept to the side. So beginners, start with progressive overload, build your way up to the point where you can train to failure. And if you're already advanced, try the training to failure first, and you get to the point where you have trained that way for 6 or 7 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever you feel overtrained, back off and train maybe 2 reps before failure, so that way there you can hyper-adapt. So hyper-acceleration, hyper-adaptation. So Ash, thanks for the comment, and everybody for the emails wondering about different training techniques. And I will go through more of these as time goes along to get more information out there to you guys and help the beginners and try to help out some of you guys who are advanced too. So for now, bios3training@gmail.com. Leave your comments down in the section below. www.bios3training.com, and we're out.